So now that we have tackled all about the chapter 10 to 13 of our bridging course of the SRWE module, now let's summarize all of it. On our chapter 10 is the land security concepts. In our land security concepts, we have discovered the different types of attacks, the network attacks today, such as the DDoS or the distributed denial of service, uh, which is which is an attack that is degrading or halting public access to an organization's website and resources. And we have the data breach, which steals confidential informations. We have the malware that infects an organization host with malicious software. Uh, now, now talking about the network security devices, we have the VPN-enabled router, the NGFW, and the NAC or the NEC. Okay, the VPN-enabled router provides secure connection to remote users across a public network. It hides their real IP address from the network. The NGFW or the Next Generation Firewall provides stateful packet inspection, application visibility, and control. Yeah. Now we have the NAC or the Network Access Control. It includes the AAA services or the authentication, authorization, and accounting. Now we have the endpoint protections. What are endpoint protections? LAN devices such as switches, wireless LAN controllers, and other access point interconnect the endpoints. So here in the endpoints, they are hosts which commonly consist of our laptops, cell phones, desktops, phones, servers, TVs or diodes. Yeah, so particularly there are those devices we use or the end devices we use. They are susceptible to malware-related attacks, such through email or web browsing. Now we have the Cisco Email Security Appliance, or the ESA. It blocks known threats, remediates against malware, and evaded initial detection, discard emails with bad links, and just protect your email. The WSA Web Security Appliance filters the links, the URLs, malware scanning, URL categorization, and anything related to the web. Now we have the access control. The AAA services is included here now. Now, what what are the AAA? AAA consists of authentication, authorization, and accounting. On authentication, we should always remember this question: Who are you? So, authentication basically means that you need to provide the right name or your right username or password to be able to access a network. Authorization filters or limits your use. The accounting, what it documents what you are visiting or how you are using the network. Now we have the 802.1x. So what is the 802.1x? It is a port-based access control and authentication protocol. This protocol restricts unauthorized workstation from connecting to a LAN. Now we all know that the layer 2 is the weakest layer on the OSI model. So it is vulnerable on attacks. When the layer 2 is compromised, then all of the layers above it can also be exploited. So we have the switch attack categories, the layer 2 attacks, which are the MAC table attacks, VLAN attacks, the DHCP attacks, ARP attacks, addressing spoof attacks, STP attacks. When we talk about the MAC table attacks, the MAC address flooding attacks. In the VLAN attacks, it includes VLAN hopping and VLAN double tagging attacks. The DHCP attacks includes the DHCP starvation and spoofing attacks. The ARP attacks consist of ARP spoofing and ARP poisoning. The address spoofing is the MAC address and IP address spoofing attacks. And the STP is the spanning tree protocol manipulation attack. Now to mitigate these attacks, we must consider the port security. because it prevents many types of attacks, including the MAC address flooding and the DHCP starvation attacks. Next solution is the DHCP snooping, yeah. It prevents DHCP starvation and DHCP spoofing attacks. The dynamic ARP inspection, it prevents the ARP attacks. IP source guard prevents MAC and IP address spoofing attacks. Um, we have the MAC address now. So the MAC address or the media access control can be also attacked by flooding. All MAC tables have a fixed size and consequently a switch can run out of resources in which to store MAC addresses. When this happens, the switch treats the frame as an unknown unicast and begins to flood all incoming traffic out all ports on the same VLAN without referencing the MAC table. It only happens within the local LAN or VLAN. Now we have to mitigate this MAC address table attack. Uh, we can we can use the MAC off command. Okay, so if you have the MAC address table flooding, we have the LAN attacks. The LAN attacks may include the VLAN hopping attacks. So what is a VLAN hopping attack? It enables traffic from one VLAN to be seen by another VLAN. Now we have also the VLAN double tagging attack. A threat actor in specific situation could embed a hidden 802.1 queue tag inside the frame that already has a 802.1 queue tag. Uh, this can confuse the frame to go to a VLAN that the original tag did not specify. We have the mitigation of these VLAN attacks. So disable the trunking on all access ports. Disable auto trunking on trunk links so that the links must be manually enabled. Be sure that the native VLAN is only used for trunk links. So hearing about mitigations a lot. So mitigation is like can be synonymous to solutions or preventions. The DHCP messages, the DHCP the DHCP attacks rather consists of DHCP starvation attack and spoofing attack. The starvation attack is to create a DOS for or a denial of service for connecting clients. It requires an attack tool such as the Gobbler. This has the ability to look at the entire scope of a leasable IP address and try to list them all. In the spoofing attack, it occurs when a rogue DHCP server is connected to the network and provides false IP configuration. So what typically happens here is we have it can provide wrong default gateway, wrong DNS server, and wrong IP address. Now we have the ARP attacks. The problem is that an attacker can send a gratuitous ARP message containing a spoof MAC address to a switch. The ARP spoofing and ARP poisoning are mitigated by implementing the DAI. So, what happens in the ARP spoofing and poisoning is each device has an accurate MAC table with correct IP and MAC addresses for the device on the LAN. What happens is the threat actor sends to spoof gratuitous ARP replies in an attempt to replace a router as the default gateway. The first router in the first PC remove the correct entry for each MAC address and replace it with another PC's MAC address. So we have now this STP attack. The STP attack, it conducts an attack by spoofing the root bridge and changing the topology of a network. The CDP reconnaissance, or the Cisco Discovery Protocol, it is enabled on all Cisco devices by default. But CDP information is extremely useful in network troubleshooting. Now, let's proceed to Chapter 11, or the switch security configuration. Now, implement port security to secure unused ports. To configure a range of ports, use the interface range command. Because layer 2 devices are considered to be weakest link in a company's security infrastructure, this layer attacks are some of the easiest for hackers to deploy. So, To prevent this, all switch ports should be secured before the switch is deployed for production use. All unused ports should be shut down to avoid the attackers from entering your ports. Now we can always mitigate MAC address table attacks. The simplest and most effective way to prevent the MAC attacks is to enable port security. The port security limits the number of valid MAC addresses allowed on a port. So those valid addresses or those authorized only can access a port. Now to limit inline MAC addresses, we can configure MAC addresses or secure the port in using manually configured, dynamically learned sticky. Now talking about port security aging, we have two types of aging, the absolute and inactivity. The absolute is secure addresses on the port and are deleted after the specified aging time. The inactivity is when the secured addresses on the port are deleted only if they are inactive for the specified aging time. So we also have security violation modes. So we have the shutdown, restrict, protect. So the protect discards offending traffic, but it does not send size log messages, and it does not increase violation counter, and it doesn't shut down ports. And the restrict commands uh, the restrict command disregard offending traffic. It also sends size log messages. It also increases violation counter, but it does not shut down ports. The shutdown discards offending traffic. It also sends syslog message. It also increases violation counter, and it also shuts down the ports. Uh, Now to mitigate VLAN attacks. So VLANs are, to call it, fragile when it comes to attacks, so we need to mitigate them. First is to disable DTP negotiations on non-trunking ports by using the switch port mode access interface configuration command. Now, disable unused ports and put them in unused VLAN. Now, third, manually enable the trunking port by using the switch port mode trunk command. Then disable the DTP. Disable the DTP negotiations on trunking ports by using the switch port non-negotiate command, and then set the native VLAN to a VLAN other than the VLAN 1 by using the switch port trunk native VLAN command. We also have mitigation for DHCP attacks. For the DHCP snooping, it doesn't rely on source MAC addresses. So devices under our administrative control, such as switches, routers, and servers, are trusted sources. To implement DHCP snooping, enable DHCP by the IP DHCP snooping. On trusted ports, use the IP DHCP snooping trust, and use the IP DHCP snooping limit rate to limit the number of DHCP discovery messages. Then IP DHCP snooping command is to enable DHCP snooping by VLAN. Now, to mitigate ARP attacks, first we need to know what ARP is, or the dynamic ARP inspection. It requires DHCP snooping and help prevent ARP attacks by not relaying invalid ARP replies out to the other ports on the same VLAN. It intercepts all ARP requests and replies on untrusted ports. It verifies intercepted packet for a valid IP to MAC binding, error disabling the interface, and dropping lagging ARP replies. So first enable DHCP snooping globally, enable the DHCP snooping on selected VLANs, enable DAI on selected VLANs, and configure trusted interfaces for DHCP snooping and RP inspection. Now we have the WLAN concept. So these are the WLAN, or the wireless local area network, is introduced here. Now what are the benefits of wireless? When we say wireless, well, obviously less wire, less. No wires needed, no wires needed for a stable connection. Now, the wireless LAN is a type of wireless network that is commonly used in our homes, our offices, and even in our school campus environments. So, these wireless networks, the main benefit of it is that it provides mobility for the users that needs a connection, but but does not have an access to ports or Ethernet ports. So the wireless gives the same benefits or same advantages of using a network or a LAN network. So there are types of wireless network. So the WPAN, WLAN, WMAN, W1. The WPAN is also called the wireless personal area network. For example, are Bluetooth and Zigbee. So we have the WLAN. This is uh, the common network that we use in our home office and campus. They are medium-sized network. They cover a medium-sized network. And we have the WMAN. Okay, the WMAN means the wireless MAN transmitter to provide wireless service over a large geographic area. For examples are antennas, cell phone towers, internet towers. Yeah. So we have the W1, or the wireless wide area networks. It provide coverage over an extensive geographic area. It uses satellites and also towers. So wireless technologies, we have the Bluetooth. We all know what Bluetooth does, and the Bluetooth has two types: the Bluetooth low energy and the Bluetooth basic rate enhanced rate. And then we have the WiMAX, or the worldwide interoperability for microwave access. It is an alternative to broadband wired internet connections. It is typically used in areas that are not yet connected to a DSL or cable provider. Now we have the cellular broadband. The best example of this is the Globe and Smart 4G or mobile data. They provide the same internet connection, with sometimes faster speeds. Now we have the satellite broadband, provides network access to remote sites through the use of a directional satellite dish. Now, what are the types of radio frequencies? So we have 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So we have the wireless standard organizations, which are the ITU, IEEE, and the Wi-Fi Alliance. Okay, so now let's proceed to the components of the WLAN. So the WLAN has the wireless NICs. Wireless NICs, they are required for the device to connect to the WLAN. To connect wirelessly, laptops, tablets, smartphones, they have those wireless NICs. Now we have the wireless home routers. Examples of these are the access point, the switch, and the router. Now we have the what we call the wireless access points. While range extenders are easy to set up and configure, the best solution would be to install an access point. An access point provides a better advantages and benefits than using a single range extender. While they can also extend range of our Wi-Fi connection, they can also be more secure. Now, to operation of the WLAN, so we have the 802.11. So when we say the 802.11, yeah, the 802.11, We have the ad hoc mode, the infrastructure mode, and the tethering. In the ad hoc mode, when two devices connect wirelessly in a peer-to-peer manner without using an AP, or device to device, a laptop to laptop, yeah, like that. Now we have the infrastructure mode. This is when wireless clients interconnect via wireless router or AP. We have the tethering topology modes, a variation of the ad hoc topology when a smartphone or tablet with cellular data access is enabled to create a personal hotspot, connecting your laptop through your mobile phone's hotspot using your mobile data or cellular data. We have the BSS and ESS. The BSS is a basic service set. It consists of a single AP interconnecting all associated wireless clients, and the ESS is the union of two or more BSS. Then we have the CSMACA, or the collision avoidance. It listens to the channel to see if it is idle. It also sends a ready to send message to the AP. It receives a clear to send message from the AP. It waits a random amount of time before restarting the process of wireless client if it doesn't receive a CTS message. It transmits data, and all transmissions are acknowledged through the CSMA CA. Now, when we talk about wireless clients and AP associations, it consists of the SSIDs, passwords, network modes, security modes, and channel settings. On the SSID, this is the name that appears in the list of available networks on a client. You can always enable or disable the SSID. When you disable it, then it will not show in the list of available networks if you didn't configured it manually. And we have the password. It is required from the wireless client to authenticate to the AP. There is a lot of security modes in our APs, the WPA2, WPA2 PSK, WPA. Yeah. So the most secure one is the WPA2 when using for personal use or home or office use. Now we have the network mode. This refers to the ito 2.11's generations, ABG and AC and AD. Security mode, yeah, this refers to the security parameter settings, just like what I've told earlier about the password. This is the WEP, WPA, WPA2, WPA2 PSK, yeah, like that. And we have the channel settings. It refers to the frequency bands used to transmit wireless data. These are the 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz band. So we have the passive and active discover mode. When your AP is in the passive mode, the AP only openly advertises its service by periodically sending broadcast beacon frames containing the SSID. On the active mode, wireless clients must know the name of the SSID to connect to it. Now we have the CAPWAP. So the CAPWAP, excuse me. CAPWAP means the control and provision, control and what do you call this? The control and provision wireless access points. So CAPAP is an IEEE standard protocol. This is based on a WAPP. We have the DTLS. The DTLS provides security between the AP and the WLC. It is enabled by default to secure the CAPWAP control, but is disabled by default for the data channel. The data encryption of the CAPWAP is optional and enabled per AP. So now we have the Flex Connect. It is a wireless solution for branch office and remote office deployments. We have the connected mode and standalone. Connected mode is when the WLC is reachable, and the standalone is when it is unreachable. So we also have, if in the LAN we have attacks, we also have threats on our WLAN. First is the DOS attacks. Yeah, we know the DOS attacks interfere or disregard or halt the access of the administrator. Now, what happened? This is resulting from improperly configured devices, malicious user intentionally interfering with the wireless communication, and an accidental interference. We also have a rogue access points. This has been connected to a corporate network without explicit authorization and against corporate policy. We also have the man-in-the-middle attack. So this is positioned in between two legitimate entities in order to read or modify the data that passes between two parties. So to secure the WLANs, we can always cloak our SSID and filter our MACs. On the SSID cloaking, this is when um, some wireless routers allow the SSID beacon frame to be disabled. You can only connect to the AP if or the S you can only connect to the AP or the router if you know the SSIDs of this particular router. And the MAC address filtering, it only allows it only permits PCs or devices that is listed on the MAC address table. So now we have the shared key authentication methods, uh, the wired equivalent privacy of the web, the WPA or Wi-Fi protected access, which enables a password, WPA2, and the WPA3. Though the WPA3 is not yet readily available, but it is more secure than WPA2 if it is now available. Now, to simply authenticate a home user, you can always use a personal or an enterprise. Personal is intended for home or small office. The enterprise is for bigger enterprise networks. Okay, so now that we are done with the WLAN concepts, let's now proceed to the configuration. Yeah, so the configuration of the WLAN is so simple. I'm just gonna summarize it into the most important parts of this. So, on the WLAN configuration, the first when you first buy a router or an AP, the first thing you need to do is to disable your SSID visibility. So this is to secure your modem or router. Then, when you disabled it, you can now configure it to change your SSIDs, your passwords, your channels, your MAC address, your IP address. You can always configure an IP address of an AP to for your and you can always configure it as long as it is within the range. Some some IP addresses only range from 100 to 429 if I'm not mistaken. So to enable the to what do you call this, to modify the SSID, you can just go to the basic setup or basic settings of your router. First you need to input the IP address of your router into your web browser, but you should be connected before you go to the IP address or search for the IP address in the web browser. So if you're on the web browser, and then if you're connected to that network and you have inputted the URL, the IP address of the router to your web browser, you need to log in your credentials. This will require a username or and a password for of your router. The default user and password can be seen at the back of the router right here. Yeah, right here. You can see it there. So if you need to access your router through your PC, yes, and then in the basic setup, you can see the the SSID name. This is what the SSID is what displays in the listed available networks. Then you can always change the password of your router, and also change the SSID and password of your router from the default to change it to another secure one to avoid uh, compromission of the network. Yeah, so those are the basic network setup of our router, and that concludes our summary for the SRWE course of our Bridging course. Okay, so thank you, and I hope to see you again.